This video is brought to you in partnership with Rosetta Stone, changing people's lives through the power of language. Right then, guys, welcome to the Irish Ferries MS Ulysses, and as you can see, we have just left Holyhead. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to make it. I left Shrewsbury on time this morning with Transport for Wales, good old class 197, taking me up to Crewe. Unfortunately, on the way there, the train had broken down, so we had to kind of divert onto the other side of the tracks and run at a reduced speed. That put us significantly late arriving into Crewe, so I missed the one of the new Evero trains I was scheduled to catch, which would have got me into Holyhead with plenty of time to spare to just chill out for a bit, grab some lunch, and then wait to check in for the ferry. As it happened, I had to wait for another train, which got me to Holyhead 3 minutes late at 13:40. Yeah, 13:40 exactly. Got to the check-in desk at 13:42. Bearing in mind that foot passenger check-in closed 30 minutes before the departure, which was 14:10. Fortunately, I managed to get through, and it was nice and quickly through the departures lounge, which, if you haven't already seen that, I've taken lots of footage on the previous video that I took with Irish Ferries. I'll link to it up here. And yeah, had to get through there fairly sharpish onto the bus. There was only me and another passenger off that particular train, and the bus took us onto the ferry. Yeah, I haven't had time for coffee or anything yet, but I did have a plan B. You should always have a plan B. But I managed to make it on time, and yeah, everything is good, and we are scheduled to arrive into Dublin at 17:30. And the captain has been on the public address system, and he is expecting a reasonably calm crossing. Weather's not great, but I'm going to show you some great shots on the way. And yeah, let's go and have a look around the ship. I filmed that intro just after we left Holyhead because the first thing I always do when catching a ferry is to head out on deck and watch it leave. The Stena Estrid was alongside us this afternoon, which is a fantastic ship. I sailed on her a few years back when she was doing the short-lived Holyhead to Belfast route. Does anybody remember that? Again, I'll link to the video up here. The deluxe cabin on that, by the way, is absolutely superb. Not much to see from the stern of the ship at this point. I decided to head back inside and down to deck 9 to have a look around the onboard facilities. Right, so I am down here on deck 9, which really, looking at the deck plans, deck 9 seems to be the one deck with basically everything on it. Shops, bars, self-service restaurant type thing, cafe. Yeah, everything really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you around deck 9. We'll do a bit of a circular tour, and I'll tell you all about it as we go along. Come on. We're starting off here at Cafe Lafayette, where you can get pizza amongst the other usual stuff like sandwiches and hot drinks. A bit of a queue here still, as you can imagine. We haven't been at sea long at this point. Yeah, everybody normally wants food and drink as soon as they get on board, don't they? There's some comfy seating here. We're heading up the starboard side, where you will find more seating and the main customer reception and information desk area. You can buy random books here, which I thought was a bit odd. I mean, they're enclosed in this kind of perspex cover, presumably to stop people stealing them. I mean, would you be inclined to run off with Boy George's autobiography? Really? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, a bit unnecessary really, the cover thing, I thought. But yeah, anyway, you can also find information on the usual stuff, cabin prices, films shown at the cinemas, bus times from Dublin Port, etc. Also, you can change currency at the adjacent desk. Now, past the Sapphire Stairs here, which is the only access route to the Club Class Lounge. More on that later. And then we're into Leopold Bloom's traditional Irish pub. Now, this is a massive area, quite busy at the time of my crossing, but not too bad. There were a few seats available. And there's a snack bar over to your left, and then the bar kind of goes around from there, really. Sky TV was showing the football. Other than that, there was no entertainment on offer. Now, bar prices, as an example, €7.50 for a pint of Heineken. Yeah, a very standard bar area, really. Comfortable enough seats, which is great if you want to spend a couple of hours in here on the overnight ferry. Check out my experience from London to Dublin on the coach if you want to see what that's like. Down the port side now, heading back to the stern and into Boylan's Brasserie. Have you noticed these random signposts dotted about? I think they look absolutely awful and not in keeping with the ship at all. Anyway, Boylan's is where you can get a wide range of hot and cold food according to the information leaflet. I didn't partake this time though. The prices, it seemed a bit all over the place really. I mean, €44.95 for a couple's meal deal type bundle, and that looked okay. And then you've got stuff like €3.50 for a yoghurt. I mean, really? And then next to that was something called Phoenix, which apparently was an Asian dining experience. Is there much call for that on the Irish Sea? I don't know. And the food, yeah, it might be amazing, but yeah, again, it all just seemed a little bit random to me, to be honest. Into the shop now, which was called, are you ready for this? The Shop. It sold all your usual stuff. Irish gifts, lots of alcohol, perfume, etc. You don't need me to tell you what to find in one of these shops, though. I would point out that it is the only shop on board. There are no, kiosk type areas where you can buy things like headlight deflector stickers and stuff like that. Just a note, by the way, to any pedants out there, before you start tapping away at your keyboard, I am aware that they wouldn't be required in Ireland. Just outside the shop exit at the stern is the Cyclops family entertainment area, which I didn't film for obvious reasons. And then you can make your way around this kind of curved area with some random gambling machines to what I think is probably the best area of the ship, the Voltaire Picture Theatre, named after Ireland's first cinema, opened by James Joyce in Dublin on the 20th of December 1909. And there are two small cinemas here, and they are quite nice inside, proper tiered seating. The price for a film at the time of my crossing was €11 for adults and €9 for children, or you can buy bundles as shown here. And there is also a lovely quiet area just to the side here, which is where I was able to spend some valuable time just relaxing and enjoying my new and exciting travel essential. Right guys, underway on the MS Ulysses, and do you know what? I absolutely love Ireland, the country itself, and of course the culture. But to be honest, I know very little about the Irish language. Well, all that's going to change now, because on this trip I have with me the Rosetta Stone language learning app, and included in one of the 25 languages available is, of course, Irish. Now, Rosetta Stone uses something called dynamic immersion, and that allows you to see, hear, speak and write in the language of your choice. There are different categories available, so you can tailor the learning to your needs. So it's absolutely ideal when you're travelling around like me all the time. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, you'll know by now that I am rubbish when it comes to pronouncing words. But fear not, because the Rosetta Stone uses fast and effective voice recognition technology from native speakers, teaching you not just what to say, but how to say it too. So let's have a go at a few words now on the app.
Dear.
Dear.
Rit.
Rit. Dear it. It's a great sense of achievement to master these words, isn't it? And it also feels like you're continually making progress. I've already learned a few new words since we left Holyhead, and I've still got time for a few more lessons. Well, fortunately, Rosetta Stone have something called a lifetime subscription. And using my exclusive link in the description below, you can get a massive 60% off the normal price of this package. So what are you waiting for? Just like me, you're going to be learning new languages in absolutely no time at all. And by the way, look out for a very special ending to this video. Right, so up to deck 10 then next, where you have the circular James Joyce balcony lounge. It's a fairly quiet space with airline style seating. Right then guys, so we are up here again on deck 11, the outside space, the only outside space on the ship as far as I can make out anyway. I mean, maybe head down the side there, but the gates are padlocked. And so there's no access that way, and there is certainly no access on decks 10 or 9 and the rest of the decks are vehicle decks. So yeah, I mean, there's a bit of space out here, but there's no shelter. There are 3 benches on this side, maybe 3 on the other side. That is your lot. And yeah, if you do want some protection from the elements, then you've got to hang out with the smokers. It's the smoking area, which ironically is the only place it does have a bit of shelter. Not impressed by the outside space on this at all. And jury's out on the ship, really. Yeah, no. Here's the thing. It's not really floating my boat. See what I did there? Anyway, okay, let's move on. After that poor attempt at humour, I obviously needed some caffeine, so decided to go back down to the Café Lafayette, which, despite the earlier queues, was still well stocked and had plenty of choice. Right, guys, yeah. An afternoon crossing this. So for lunch, I just went for a sandwich, a packet of crisps, and a cup of tea at the Café Lafayette here, where you can come and just relax after being shouted at by the girl behind the counter. In a nice way, actually. It was really nice. And she also pointed out that the meal deal for that kind of food is €11.95. Not the cheapest, is it, that? But yeah, Tesco meal deal. Of course, if I had time before rushing for the ship, I could have gone to Tesco's. But yeah, it's ship prices, and that's not too bad. And actually, the sandwich was really nice. Right, let's explore a little bit more of the ship. Accessed by the Sapphire Stairs only is the Club Class Lounge, available on this crossing for €21. And this is where the value is, and ordinarily I would head for it, pay the money, stay in it, and make sure I got my money's worth. But obviously, for the purposes of this video, I need to show you guys the rest of the ship. The Freight Driver's Lounge is also on this deck, and you may have caught a glimpse of some gambling machines before, which apparently is the Marino Casino. Yeah, I don't think Monte Carlo's got anything to worry about yet. So I was back out on deck 11 again, just thinking about all this, and yeah, in my opinion, the passenger areas on the ship just feel really poorly designed. And for example, just 2 doors and 1 lift to the only outside deck space accessible to the public. That's really poor, and yeah, it's a long way from the bow on deck 9 to the stern on deck 11, isn't it? We're about an hour away from Ireland now, and I was a bit bored, to be honest. I like to explore a ship's deck space, both inside and out, but the Ulysses, it just wasn't doing it for me at all. I mean, it's a big ship and all that, but it's just not very exciting. Anyway, the views were improving, so enjoy them with me as we make our way towards Dublin Port. As you will have seen in the text there, Ulysses is a massive ship, and I guess when you look at the deck plan here, much of the space is taken up by vehicle decks, and that says to me its primary purpose is transporting as many cars and trucks, well, especially trucks, across the Irish Sea as possible. Now, she has another ship registered in Cyprus with, I believe, an Eastern European crew. And by the way, did you notice that back in Holyhead, the Stena Estrid is another ship that is registered in Limassol? One or two things to close off. The Wi-Fi, where you get 20 minutes free, and then it's payable with prices from €5 for an hour, which isn't too bad really if you need it. But I just used the free 20 minutes on this short crossing, and the speed was excellent to be fair. YouTube loaded up, streamed really well, and other social media platforms also worked well. And the price I paid, well, I was on a SailRail ticket from Shrewsbury, so it included the train and worked out at £51 and 10p. Well, is this good value? Well, in my opinion, yes and no. With Stena, for example, they regularly run deals for foot passengers on the same route. You can sometimes get a single fare for £10 or less. But it depends where you live, doesn't it? I mean, I think generally speaking, the further away from Holyhead you are, the more sense it makes to look at the SailRail fares. But do let me know what you think in the comments below. Right guys, so we're just coming alongside now Dublin Port, and for a slightly ahead of schedule arrival. The plan is I am going to disembark and I'm going to call an Uber, and I'm going to head down to my hotel in Dublin city centre tonight. Yes, I have got deep pockets. Actually it wasn't that expensive, but when we get there I'm just going to take a minute or two to think about the ship really, and give you my thoughts then. So I'll see you in a bit. Disembarkation was via the stairs leading off from the lobby area opposite the information desk, and not too much of a wait, and I think it makes a big difference being able to use a gangway on the side of the ship rather than having to wait for a bus to drive on and then pick you up. A big positive for arriving into Dublin Port this is. There are plenty of taxis outside, about €15 into the city centre, or you can take the waiting bus for €3 at the time of this video. I was feeling lazy today, just jumped into a taxi which dropped me off outside my hotel, and after I checked in, I just took a minute or two to sum up the journey. Right guys, in my hotel room in Dublin, another Premier Inn as I'm sure you can tell. It's one of these rooms with an interconnecting door. You don't see many of those with Premier Inns, and I don't like them. I've got to say, it's that kind of feeling that there's somebody in the room next to you, and you can always hear them a little bit, I always think. Not for me really, but I'm only here for one night, so I can make do. I'm pretty tired anyway. What did you think of Irish Ferries MS Ulysses, Holyhead over to Dublin Port, a 3 and a bit hour crossing? And to be fair, we were bang on time. Well, in my opinion, I thought it was a little bit poorly designed. I mean, the outside deck space up on deck 11 there, and that was the only outside deck space I could see. And to get to it, you had to go up 2 flights of stairs from deck 9, which seemed, it was the only deck with any kind of passenger facilities on it really, apart from a little bit of seating on deck 10, which is predominantly cabins. Yes, honestly, the amount of times I went up and down those stairs, I mean, you can take the lift, but there was loads of people in the lift as well, so you'd have an interminably long wait for that, going up or down. And then outside it was just like a couple of smoking areas, no shelter. It was just, not that great, in my opinion. The crew were fine, absolutely fine. Their prices, they were a little bit inflated, but we're on a ship at the end of the day, so you have to expect that. You know what? Irish Ferries reckon that they are the best value on the Irish Sea. Well, I'm not so sure about that, and I'll tell you what I will do is I'll take Stena Line at some point in the near future, and we will see how they compare, won't we? But overall, it wasn't the best ship I have ever been on, put it that way. And don't forget guys, make sure to click on the description below to take advantage of Rosetta Stone's massive 60% discount on their lifetime subscription. And I wish you all the best with any new languages you care to learn. Thank you very much for joining me on this adventure. I'm sure you will join me on another one soon. And until then guys, sláinte for now.